In the spring of 1854, Europe stood on the edge of war. Cannons thundered along the shores of the Black Sea. Empires clashed over faith, power, and prestige. And the Crimean War erupted into one of the defining conflicts of the 19th century. Yet, in the heart of Europe, one great empire remained strangely silent. Austria did not fight, and that silence would prove disastrous. This is the story of how neutrality, meant to preserve peace, instead pushed Austria toward isolation, weakness, and eventual decline. Europe's powder keg. The Crimean War began as a dispute over holy sites in the Ottoman Empire, but beneath the surface lay a far more dangerous struggle. Russia, under Tsar Nicholas I, sought dominance over the weakening Ottoman state and greater access to warm water ports. Britain and France, fearing Russian expansion, rushed to defend the balance of power. The Ottoman Empire, desperate and vulnerable, became the battlefield. In the middle of it all stood Austria, a vast, multi-ethnic empire stretching from Italy to the Balkans. Austria's position was crucial. Whichever side Vienna chose could tip the scales of the war. Austria's debt to Russia. Only a few years earlier, Austria had nearly collapsed. In 1848, revolution swept across Europe. Hungary rose in rebellion, threatening to tear the Habsburg Empire apart. Austria survived only because Russia intervened, sending troops to crush the Hungarian Revolution. The debt was undeniable. Tsar Nicholas I believed Austria would now stand beside Russia in any future conflict. At the very least, he expected loyalty or gratitude. But Austria hesitated. The fear of choosing sides. Austria's leaders faced a nightmare. Supporting Russia risked war with Britain and France, the world's leading naval and economic powers. Supporting the West meant betraying the very empire that had saved Austria in 1849. There was another danger, too. Austria ruled over millions of Slavs, Italians, and Hungarians, many of whom watched Russia closely as a protector of Slavic peoples. A war on Russia's side might fuel nationalist revolts. A war against Russia could do the same. So Austria chose a third path: neutrality. Armed neutrality. Austria declared itself neutral, but not passive. In 1854, Austrian troops marched into the Danubian Principalities, modern Romania, territory previously occupied by Russian forces. The move was meant to pressure Russia diplomatically without firing a shot. To Vienna, this was cautious statecraft. To Russia, it was betrayal. Tsar Nicholas I reportedly said, "Austria astonishes the world with her ingratitude." Austria had not joined Russia, but it had not joined the West either. It had managed to anger everyone. Isolation on all sides. As the war dragged on in Crimea, marked by brutal sieges, disease, and mass death, Austria stood alone. Russia never forgave Vienna for abandoning it. Britain and France distrusted Austria, seeing it as weak and unreliable. The Ottoman Empire remembered Austria's long history as both rival and overlord. Austria had preserved its army and avoided battlefield losses. But it had lost something far more valuable: allies. The price revealed. The consequences of neutrality became clear soon after the war ended in 1856. In 1859, Austria went to war with France and Piedmont Sardinia in Italy alone. No rasce. No support. Austria was defeated. In 1866, Austria faced Prussia in a struggle for dominance in Germany. Once again, Austria stood isolated. Once again, Austria lost. The diplomatic system that had once protected the Habsburg Empire was gone, destroyed not on the battlefield of Crimea, but in the quiet chambers of Vienna during the war. Neutrality as a trap. Austria believed neutrality would buy time. Instead, it bought mistrust. By trying to offend no one, Austria offended everyone. By trying to preserve stability, it weakened its position in Europe.